First of all, I mean, obviously the basketball, we can see what he's capable of doing. For him to be 20 years old, he hasn't even scratched the surface yet of what he's going to be. But the kid can flat out play. I saw it about 3.5, 4 years ago. I was watching a high school basketball game and I happened to catch Simeon playing, and I told our agent at the time, it's now Taylor's agent, Rich Paul, told my agent, I said he need to take a look at this kid, Taylor Horton Tucker, that's at Simeon. I think, the kid is super talented. This is like 4 years ago. Long story short, I mean, obviously, you see what he's doing now. And he's going to continue to get better and better and better, as the days goes on. He get an opportunity to practice against us, the guys as veterans and things of that nature. So he's just going to continue to improve, and he's going to do some really good things in this league for a long time.
Dave? Yeah, LeBron, there's some similarities you could draw between where you were in your career in 2010 and Giannis Antetokounmpo coming into this offseason. Could you see how tough perhaps that decision was for him, and how did you react to the news today that he re-upped for the max extension?
I don't know if I can relate to his situation. All of our situations are different, totally different, actually. They've tried to build something great for him, and obviously they did enough to keep him there. And I think it's great that he's staying there. He's committed to that franchise, and and that's what it's all about. So, but I don't think my situation and his situation, it's no similarities, and it's totally different.
Ben Wayne?
Yeah, Rob. I wanted to ask you about House 330 and kind of how that came together and what you're kind of hoping to accomplish with it.
Well, how it came together is us continuing to want to listen to our families. We listen to our kids, we listen to our families and what their needs are. And we're just not settling for, what we've done in the past. We want to continue to grow. And we believe House 330 is the next step on providing, the future for our kids and for our families. 10 years has been a place that I grew up going to. Used to have a lot of banquets there as a kid, either when I was playing Little League football or Little League basketball, all the way up through high school. So I know how important that landmark is to our city and to the city of Akron. And for us to be able to take over that venue and create a space for our families and our kids and people that want to come and see what we're doing, I think it's amazing. I thank Chase and Old El Paso, Dick's Sporting Goods, and so many other partners that we have on just believing in us and being able to create something that our families and our kids will last forever. It's one of the best things I've done and we've done as a foundation, and we're going to continue to build off of that because our kids they need it. This is how you create generational change, and we want to continue to do that for our community.
Hey, LeBron, obviously this entire training camp process is pretty quick and rushed, but for you in these last two preseason games, the last of which has been described by Frank as sort of a dress rehearsal, are there some benchmarks or are there some sort of goals that you set that you say, hey, I want to be able to do this, or I want to feel this with the team before we get in the regular season that you're trying to meet?
No, I mean, actually, I just want to continue to, if it's tomorrow, in Phoenix, if it's Friday, I want to just continue what the ball club has been doing. I mean, they've been sharing the ball, moving the ball, playing at a really good pace and trying to defend and rebound. And, we just want to, pick up back where we left off in the bubble, but also enhance that with the new guys. I mean, I'm going to do the same thing, whatever it takes for our ball club to win. I'm gonna bring my game. You guys know what my game provides for this ball club, and and I'm gonna produce that every night.
We've got time for two more. Bill Orm.
Hey, LeBron, sweet hat.
I appreciate it.
You took a lot of pride last year in being able to lead the league in assists at age 35 and taking on a new role playing point guard for that team. Obviously, a different year, different roster. Do you have a sense yet of whether you should take on that same amount of playmaking with this team this year? And what are kind of your thoughts on that moving through a year where you had such a limited offseason?
Yeah, every year causes for, whatever that challenge presents itself, Bill. So, if it presents for me to be the primary ball handler and also, try to lead the league in assists or just make sure I am being the forefront of, getting guys involved, then I can take that responsibility as we've seen last year. If it does not happen, if our team don't need it this year, then that's absolutely fine as well. We can, as you've seen through the first 2 preseason games, being able to facilitate through Mark, at that high post area is going to give us another playmaker. Dennis is going to give us another playmaker. So, it doesn't matter, for me. Whatever, the team needs for me to do this year. Last year calls for me to be the primary ball handler, to make sure I get guys involved, to make sure I keep the ball moving and things of that nature, and it worked well for us. But every year is its own challenge. So this challenge could be different. And whatever the coaching staff or the players come to me and they say, okay, we need you to score more than you did last year, or we need you to try to assist more than you did last year, I'll try to do that. Or you need you to defend more. Whatever it is, I just want to win. And, that's all it's about for me.
Just want to bring that Turner. Ron, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, B.
Good. Look, I'm just wondering, what motivates you to get involved in your community projects, and how edifying is it to do that and to hear other athletes speak up about that and also want to be involved in their communities?
I was literally, I know you hear this a lot when people do community events, things of that nature, and they say, the notion of I was one of those kids, but I was literally one of those kids. My mom was literally one of those parents. I come from a single parent household. I come from the inner city. We come from not much at all. My mom didn't work. She was the only parent. She was 16 years old, walking through Central High School in Akron, Ohio, pregnant as a high school sophomore. So and then unfortunately, my grandmother passed away when I was 3 years old. My mom was 19, and so we've been through, I guess, what you would say, hell and back. But we never wavered. We may have question days on, is there going to be a tomorrow for us, and how we're going to make it to the next day. For me personally as a kid, looking at my household at a young age, I realized that I had to be more than just my mom's son. I had to be, kind of like a big brother of a family that didn't even have siblings. I had to be more than what I was at that time because my mom just needed that support. So I literally know what these kids are going through because I was that kid growing up in the late 80s and early 90s and through the 90s. So it's easy for me to understand when they're talking to us and saying these are the things that they need. These are the things that will help them get through. These are the things that will help a better future for them. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that I did it on my own because I didn't. I had that support. When I started to play sports, I had coaches, Little League coaches, Frank Walker, Coach Drew Joyce, Bruce Kelker, Willie Earl, a lot of these coaches when I was a kid who saw me as a talent, but they also saw me as a young man, and they was like, okay, this guy can be, more than just a guy that could play sports. We need to have the support for him. And then I had my friends that, the Drew Joyces and the Willie McGee, Sheon Cotton, Frank Walker, Brandon Weems, Romeo Travis. I had those guys, that became my brothers and helped me get to this point where I am today. And you add on Maverick and Rich and Randy. I've had that support. So when you have that support, you can tap into some things that you never believed that you can tap into. And that is my opportunity and my responsibility to my community to give them support. Because I would love that at some point in time throughout their lives, they could be 25 or 30 or 35, come to me or come to our foundation and be like, listen, you guys may not remember me, but I was that kid in the 3rd or 4th grade that came from this school, and now I'm a doctor at the Cleveland Clinic, or I'm a nurse at the Cleveland Clinic, or I've went off and I've been in Africa for the last 5 years and come up with anything. I've designed this. I'm an architect, and I'm building buildings all over the world. Like seriously, that would be incredible for me to hear. you know, we just, like I said, I don't know if it was a couple weeks ago or last time I did media, we got 28 kids in our foundation right now, 18 going off to Kent State and 9 going to Akron U, and that's just right now, you know, that's received college scholarships. So I just want to create change, man, for the greater good. You know, if you could create change with one family, hopefully it could trickle to 2 go to 4, 4 to 8, 16, 32. You guys know the math, and obviously you could tell I'm very passionate about that, man. It needs to be done. It needs to be done.
Like right now, you know, I hit LeBron and I said, you know, I don't know if it exists, but I would like to intern for the Lakers, like intern coaching, like where I give you guys the brain, right, and how I see the game and try to add, but I get to learn how to like run practice, do this, break down film, because, you know, coaching, as a player, we coached. We got to know everything, time, possession, what the ref likes, what he doesn't like, who does this, what, we got to know that, you know, who takes everything personal, so, you know, keep it quiet with them. That's from here, but, you know, watching the game from here is different. You know, knowing time of possession and who to sub versus us looking over like, yo, get him out of there. You know, that's, you know, you have to make subs on, you know, and I want to learn that. And I was like, you know, I said no pay, it's an internship, and, you know, I want to learn and study. I think I will learn more information if I'm not being paid. And, you know, I can help you guys out with the information I know and get these guys on, you know, how to be routined and how to, you know, heighten their play with, you know, with the game. And he's like, well, I'll talk to Pelinka. You know, so I have that where, you know, I just think that, you know, like interning to get all that information.
Sure, right.
Because we have a game that's been given to us in a generation that never questioned any of it.
Yeah.
And the way my brain worked, I have questions to say, why do you guys do this again? Because it doesn't make sense to the overall picture. Like me, if I'm a coach, there's no morning shoot around. Because I did the study on it, the morning shoot around came in the 50s and 60s because they were alcoholics.
Yes.
And you needed to wake their asses up.
Right.
So why are you doing that now? These guys are not alcoholics.
Right.
And most likely with the attention span of this generation, whatever information you give them at 10, 11 o'clock does not translate
They
to
need
5
it
o'clock.
again pregame, right.
You know, so you just wait till 5 o'clock, let them sleep all, whatever they do at 5 o'clock, give them the information, they can turn it on in real time. You know, and it's just like little things, like why would you take your best player out at the 3-minute mark? Why? That's when you're in the penalty. Wouldn't that be when he's most dangerous? Like now you cannot touch LeBron James, Anthony Davis when they're like, you beat him up the first 10 minutes of the first 9 minutes, you cannot touch him. Why am I gonna put a cold player in during the penalty when that cold player is just trying to warm up? So he's not taking advantage of these last 3 minutes. So when you need more scoring, this guy just got in and he's still stretching and doing all this, and he's waiting for the second period to start anyway before he takes his first couple shots.
Right.
So I said you have these gaps of
and it's all about the small little
detail.
advantages, right? That you can pile up enough of them because all the players are talented, all the coaches are smart. They know, you know, but what is that little thing you can
and that's like that, and that's and I watch over and over, and I'm like I get to ask the question, why do you sub at 3?
Yeah.
Like who taught, like, because it's just, there's like little things that can add.
Yeah, because you were like before, I mean, Chris Paul's known for it today, but you know, to get that 40-foot, 5-foot shot when they're trying to foul on the floor, but you were doing that back.
Yeah, because like my little things, I'll talk to the ref.
Right.
Hey ref, they got a foul to give. He's gonna try to use it here. I'm shooting a 3.
Right.
You know, if I tell the ref and I do it, it's, you know, so I'm getting full court 3-point shots, and And then actually it becomes a 4-point shot because the coach didn't like that, and now he wants to cuss him out. Give him a tech. Now I get 4 free throws for the same thing. And then, like even with Chris Paul, I used to tell Chris Paul that you're the easiest to go against. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, I get frustration fouls. I said, you get too many frustration fouls. He's like, what is a frustration foul? I said, when someone does something to you and you want to talk to the ref, you waste a foul to talk to the ref. So that was your frustration foul. Now me, knowing you give up the frustration foul, I'm then, after that, gonna go 1-4 flat against you and either force you to play defense and try to get another foul or get an easy baskets. I said, it's like a combo. Wait till you get your frustration foul, then 1-4 flat you.
Right.
And he was like, you know, and that's the mind, that's how I broke down the game.
All right, I didn't want to do this to you, but to get out on this, we're gonna ask a tough question.
Okay.
All right, and I'll give you this caveat. Maybe it's not ego or they're not difficult, but who's the hardest interview? Maybe because they're more prepared or you gotta come.
That is up. Don't do that. Don't do it. That's a setup. That's a setup. Because if he says it and then the guy gets all pissed, you gotta remember.
I'm saying
it's prima donna.
In a good way. They're tough interviews because like this guy knows his shit. That's what I'm saying.
Old players that you don't have to deal with anymore. That's the easy one. Older players that you don't have to deal with anymore. Who was the toughest?
So I have a different way to answer this. So like, I think someone like Kobe, there were days where, you know, he could see where my thought train was going and he would try to get me off the track, you know? But then we would end up going back and forth. But here's the thing, like you said that the pen's mighty, right? You don't want to fight with a writer. But in the age of social media, like a player can belittle a media member in a moment. And you guys can be fine, but the Twitter world doesn't know that. Like all these, you know, people say, oh, he just sunned you. No, not really. Like I'm good. I know I'm good with the guy. He may have won that little back and forth. But like, so I've covered several guys like that. I'll say this because he, you know, he's now with Philadelphia and he was a huge part of this last Lakers championship team. First time around, in 2012, 2013, I did not like covering Dwight Howard. Just didn't.
That was a tough time.
Off the back injury.
Yeah.
I mean, he was going through a lot, you know. But it was just always so difficult. And I didn't feel like when he was talking, he was being genuine. And I didn't think he even loved basketball that much. But he was going through a lot. This time around, and I told him this. We were in Chicago because that one season before he left for Houston, early on in the year, Dwight took the stat sheet. It was after the game, they lost to the Bulls. It was a good Bulls team, but the Lakers were supposed to be like champions with that team. And he was going around the locker room, pointing to his shot total. It was like 5 or 6 shots. And like, to me, like, nothing says that you don't quite get it if you should be caring about whatever we can do as a team to win, you know, not like point out my shot totals. And then we were in Chicago this year, and you know the Lakers actually had this crazy comeback against the Bulls, and Dwight couldn't have been happier. Gregarious playing music, kind of like keeping to himself a little bit, but he still had his guys on the team. And I told him like, I just want to tell you, like I really have enjoyed covering this year. Like it's cool that you've come this far. And maybe I've come this far. I even told him, I said, like, I was 7 years ago. I was still figuring out how to do this job. You were probably figuring out stuff too.
You know the funny part about that? So I'm in Orlando with him. So all of it, LA was just, the whole thing was a rude awakening. You gotta remember, Orlando.
Yeah.
He's God.
That's right.
So there, he's God to Disney. It's Disneyland and Dwight. You know, there's no Hollywood, there's no Kobe, there's no, so what ends up happening is, you know, everybody is Team Dwight, the whole state of Florida. So he doesn't have the bad, so he doesn't, you know, so there's no sneak questions, there's no around, like it's just, you know, so he gets just to be who he is.
Right.
You know, and then when you come here, and then it's like, okay, it's Kobe, okay, cool. And I'm probably behind Kobe, and then it's like, oh, nah, Steve Nash.
Yeah.
oh, okay, cool. You know, then
Powell
the
won 2
coach,
rings
and then
there.
Powell, then it's like you, and then he's coming off a back injury just after a year where he just kind of found his offensive.
That's right.
He just, like, I remember in that year in Orlando, he just found his offensive mojo. So to him, he thinks, hey, I'm a good option here. I'm a good option. I just dominated last year, offense, you know. So with that, the back, all this media, he didn't. It was like, you know, it's like that pretty girl, that pretty girl who's pretty there, and then when you come here and you're a 5.